Welcome to episode 8 of the Old White Man Show. I call it the Old White Man Show because I'm old, I'm white, and I'm a man. Yesterday I had a good day. I went to give contributions, charitable contributions to the Indian Nation. I went to Windstar Casino and gave them my money. My wife gave them their money. You know, the Indians is a good cause, and we believe in going up there regularly. The last few years, that's all we've been doing is giving donations. Uh, and they give you a free meal, well, not really a free meal. You pay like 50, 60 times the value of the meal, and as soon as you get on that slot machine or the tables. But we had a good time doing it. So we do it for enjoyment. And we can afford to do it, so therefore it's good to help the nations. Like the Chickasaw Nation, the Apache Nation, the Comanche Nation, the Cherokee Nation, all the different Indian nations. I do not discriminate. I give them all my donations there. Today, I want to talk a little bit about what's been going on and how it kind of reflects on everybody. I was raised that you had to respect your elders, that you should tell the truth, that you should not do stuff that was bad, and you should praise God. I didn't always agree with the things the church used to do, the church doctrines, but I realized after years that these churches just ran by men, and these men makes decisions that benefits them sometimes and not really the welfare of all. But I do believe in going to church, and I do believe in praying to the Lord and trying to do what's best for everybody. So if your church aggravates you sometimes, so be it. You're not going there for the building. You're not going there for the priest or pastor. You're going there for God. And God gave his life, his only son, for you. So therefore, if you gotta kind of think about that and saying, hey, this guy really sacrificed a lot for me, maybe I can do a little for him. This last week, we have been giving this 2 conventions. 2 different pictures of America. We had the Democratic National Convention that was supported by the Democratic Party, lots of billionaires and millionaires, Hollywood, the various sports leagues, and then we had the Republican National Convention. And it also was supported by a lot of people, but mainly by the American people, the people who believed in this country. I can't believe what I heard in the Democratic Convention, how they tore down America, how they said basically everything we had was not right, and how they blamed our current president for all the problems that we got. I mean, this man was a rich kid that inherited some money, started building companies, built hotels and office buildings, started many various businesses. A lot of them failed, and he had the audacity enough to use the laws of the United States to support his businesses. The ones that made money, the ones that didn't make money, he learned how to use the bankruptcy to his advantage. No Democrat has ever went bankrupt in America. That's what I've been led to believe, except the ones that I know. And a hell of a lot of them went bankrupt, No Democrat has ever used the tax laws of the United States for their self-benefit, except for the Democrats that I know. And, my little buddy, your little guy, Al Sharpton, the preacher who pads his pocket with all that money and don't pay his income tax. The one that what's that guy's name? Obama, not Obama bin Laden, but Obama. Barack Obama, yeah, him. He's the one that gave him an office in the White House. You know why? Because he couldn't afford an office of his own. Because he didn't have no money. He couldn't even pay his taxes. Still hasn't paid his taxes. But he's a millionaire. You know, I mean, they said everything bad about our president, but they didn't want to admit what they do for themselves. Look, the Democratic Party supports what the post office is doing. But the post office is a government quasi-organization that belongs to the people of the United States. So what we are doing is that we are giving Jeff Bezos money every time we deliver one of his packages. And we take the money out of our pocket so that we can pay for the delivery of his package. We do the same thing with UPS, the same thing with FedEx. You know, we do everything in our power to make the rich Democrats richer. And the Democrats vote for that, but they don't want to tell the American people that. They want to say, oh, the poor American people, you know, they're getting ripped off by the Republicans. There's more millionaires and billionaires that's Democrats than they are Republicans. Simple fact, you know, look it up. You know, go talk to them. You know, most of these rich Jewish people, they're Democrats, they're not Republicans, you know. Hell, I mean, it's kind of like you got to be a Democrat to be born Jewish. You know, it kind of cracks me up. You know, there's very few Jewish people that seem to be Republican. Why? I don't know. I got people telling me that, you know, and these Democrats are saying Trump's got a trophy wife. Hey, he's got a beautiful, decent woman, you know, who made her own money, who married him for whatever reason she wanted to. And I'm proud to call her our First Lady. You know, she wasn't a manufactured wife like some of the presidents that we got. You know, and you know who I'm talking about. You go back the last 20-something years and you can see an awful bunch of manufactured wives. You know, the Democratic thing said everything was wrong. They even blamed the China virus on our president. I mean, in January, I heard the president saying that there was a virus and one person has caught it or died, you know, and that he was going to stop the flights from China. I mean, I heard that with my own ears. Then I heard Chuck Schumer and Nancy Pelosi saying, oh, it's a bunch of hogwash. Y'all come out to the Chinese festivals in their cities, various cities. You know, Joe Biden was saying, you know, that the president was racist. You know, he was homophobic because he was against the Chinese. He cut off that travel. You know, so I mean, I did hear that, and so did millions and millions of other Americans and the world. Now they're saying Trump didn't do nothing. Oh hell, Trump was the only one that did anything. The Democratic Party didn't try to do nothing at all. You know what the Democratic Party ended up doing? They ended up taking infected people and sending them to nursing homes and other old people to kill off the old people. I think that if you lost a loved one in a nursing home, you should hire an attorney and sue the governors and the mayors of those states who did that. You know, file your lawsuits against them. Everybody should file an individual lawsuit. You don't need a class action. We need them going after. Everybody needs to go in there and just make it hard on them. Make them pay the price. You know, Cuomo, I heard you every day on TV and all that ridiculous stuff that you was doing. And that guy that calls himself the mayor of New York, he's a disgrace to the human race. Hell, he should be tarred and feathered and ran out the state. But don't send him to Texas. We don't want him down here. They'll keep him up north. You know, I listen to the Republicans, and here's people talking positive things. I mean, there was a guy in a wheelchair who, instead of feeling pity for himself, was getting up there and trying to run for the legislature. And he stood on his own 2 feet at the end. And people, Democratic news organizations, media made fun of him. There was a black lady who was sent to prison because of the laws that Joe Biden and Bill Clinton approved back in the early 90s. I mean, this woman ended up spending 22 years in prison for a minor drug charge, you know, and it was a Republican president who listened to some other black people who was basically Democrats that maybe turned Republican for bring it to his attention. And he listened at this and he gave her a pardon. You know, got her out of prison. You know, he did what the right thing. It was that same racist white Republican president that we got that signed a executive order reforming the criminal system, letting, you know, hundreds and thousands of people out of prison who was there for minor crimes. This is crimes that Joe Biden, he supported. Remember back in '77, and he's saying, I don't want my children going to school, but black people would be a jungle. You know, I remember that, you know. You know, it's a kind of funny. And his running mate, Kamala Harris. I mean, look at that woman. She is so fake, it's pitiful. You can look at her and see that the only person she's scared for is herself. I mean, she sent hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of black people to prison for minor crimes. She says she's black, and she was sending them to prison. She wasn't black. She was Indian. She only became black when it became suited to her to become black. You know, I mean, she's about as black as I am. You know, I mean, we had an Indian princess one time that turned out not to be an Indian. Now we got a black princess that, well, she's really not black people, you know. And her family was one of the people who needs to pay reparations because they own slaves, you know. It's not the white people that we should be paying, it's the slave owners that should be paying if anyone needs to pay, you know. Or maybe Jeff Bezos, that guy with $200 billion, maybe he ought to send everybody a check. He can afford it. He's earning his money on the back of people, on the backs of people, taxpayers like us, who's got to ship and handle his packages at a lower cost. The post office taking a loss, you know, just so this guy can make more money and write bigger checks to the congressman. I mean, you know, our congressmen, I'm not saying they own the take. They come into office, but somehow while they're in office, representing the American people, they become millionaires. And I don't understand how they do that. You know, look at President Obama. He became president with a $400,000 net worth. If you look at him today, he's almost 100 million or more than 100 million. How did he do that? How did the Clintons become so rich? You got to ask yourself a question. Let's look at their tax return. Let's examine where all that money came from. Let's get a true accounting of what's going on. Before we judge President Trump, you know, we need to judge the rest of them. They need to be able to sit up there and tell us where everything came from. They won't. It's none of our business. They don't care about us. The only black people that got help when Obama was president was the people that he went to school with, from Yale and Harvard. Those people made tons of money, hundreds of millions of dollars off of taxpayers' money because they was given special opportunities. But the poor guy out there painting a house or working on the road construction or doing manual labor, he didn't get nothing from Obama. We all know that, so we don't have to hide it. You know, and all you people who thinks that all this rioting and all this other stuff is good, it's not. It's not good at all. The only reason you are able to riot is because the police is protecting you. Your right to riot. You know, your right to do this. And the Democrats is taking advantage of this. Letting people loot, letting people kill, commit murder and everything, and letting them attack police officers with no consequences to them. If the police wasn't protecting you, there'd be people like me out there with guns shooting your ass, and you'd be dead. Simple as that. You know why? Because your rioting that results in looting and burning down buildings and killing innocent people is not acceptable. So you better hope and pray that they don't defund the police. Because when the day that they defund the police, your ass is gone. Now, for brighter things, for better things, we want to know. I got one sorry thing to say, that the University of Texas figured out a way, using COVID-19, not to play LSU, the national champions, this year. So we won't see them lose to LSU again. But the Southeast Conference is going to have, in the conference, 10 games that they're going to play this year. And we are going to realize that the national champions is still there. So thank you, LSU, for not being afraid of the virus. Y'all have a good week. Bye-bye.